Week 15 Viva. How did the Viking invasions reshape Europe? Often historians focus on the destruction caused by the Vikings. However, the Vikings' innovative strategies and colonization of the continent shifted the political center of gravity from southern to northern Europe. First, they brought an end to the Carolingian domination of northern Europe. Secondly, they reshaped the map by settling and establishing new kingdoms throughout Europe. And thirdly, they transformed the culture of Europe, transmitting their culture through technological innovation, literature, and trade. My first point is that the Vikings brought an end to the Carolingian domination of northern Europe. Notker the Stammerer, who was one of Charlemagne's biographers, leaves us an account of the king's distress upon the arrival of the Vikings in France. Charlemagne was eating his supper while staying at a town in southern Gaul. He witnesses a pirate raid at the coast and at once recognizes the men to be Norsemen. Although the pirates are quickly chased away by Charlemagne's ships and are quickly gone, Charlemagne remains looking out the window for a long time, silently weeping. At last, Charlemagne turned to his men and explained to them his behavior. He said that he was horrified that the Viking ruffians would dare to attack his coast. But he said that he was not afraid of any harm they could inflict on him personally. Instead, he said, quote, "I am horror-stricken when I foresee what evil they will do to my descendants and their subjects." So basically, Charlemagne foresaw that when he was dead, it was inevitable that the Vikings would bring an end to his kingdom. After this, Charlemagne had plenty of conflict with the Vikings among the northern coast, particularly after they had occupied parts of England. The Danes, in particular, would play a large role in the fall of the Frankish Empire. The last of the Carolingian empires, Charles the Fat, proved unable to secure his empire against Viking invasions, and he was eventually deposed. My second point is that the Vikings reshaped the map by settling and establishing new kingdoms throughout Europe. According to Michael Lomerix, quote, "The Vikings were the preeminent explorers of their time, being the first to discover the Faroes, Iceland, Greenland, North America, and Spitsbergen," unquote. Not only did the Vikings discover new lands, they established many of the greatest cities in Europe, and they influenced many cultures. In 840, the city of Dublin, Ireland, was founded. Much of Dublin still bears names connected to its Viking heritage. Many suburbs in Dublin have names that involve the word Rath. For instance, the mansion Rathfarnham, or the suburb Rathfarnham. This is because Rath comes from the Viking word Hrathur. Hrathurs were actually just Viking forts that were basically villages surrounded by a circular wall. The Norse language also had a profound influence on English culture and its language. Some Old Norse words in English are berserk, which means literally bear shirt, and it was used, I guess, when there was a Viking who would enter battle wearing nothing but animal skin, so he'd be like, "That guy's berserk," and it was like meant kind of crazy, I assume. Anyway, Other words were the English word club, which was klubba in Norse, and ransack, and also slaughter. The Vikings also settled in and influenced less expected places, including Canada and Sicily in the Middle East. Some Viking warriors even became elite fighters for the Byzantine Emperor, called the Varangian Guard. My third point is that the Vikings transformed Europe with their technological innovation, literature, and trade. One such innovation was the Vikings' superior architectural innovations. According to Michael Lumerex, quote, "The Vikings were technologically advanced in construction techniques for their time," unquote. We can see this by looking at the excavations of the Viking city of Jorvik, which was built on the ruins of York in the 10th century. The excavations show that before the arrival of the Vikings, buildings were constructed using the post and plank method. However, after the innovation, there were found houses made of upright posts and timbers. They were thatched with wattle and daub. They also found workshops, warehouses, and shops. The Viking craftsmen were also highly skilled and used tools such as pine blades that were even sometimes decorated. So they were, as you can see, pretty technologically advanced. The Vikings were also a storytelling people. The Icelandic sagas were fantastical works, but they were also still grounded in reality and were quite possibly real stories about real Norse people. They are still popular today. The key to the Viking success was their ships and their navigational abilities. Most Vikings were actually not raiders, but they were explorers. They built a trade network that covered Europe, Russia, the Middle East, northern India, and China. They opened trade routes to Constantinople and the Far East, and they transformed the economy of northern Europe from a prestige goods exchange system into a more diverse mercantile market economy. And basically what this means is, originally, in the beginning, the Vikings were just going around raiding different cities or countries to steal their riches, but in the end, they actually helped establish a trade route which would, trade literally anything. Like, it wasn't just steal some gold from your neighboring kingdom. And that helped obviously provide wealth for everybody, and it made it so towns could focus on, producing one valuable good instead of everything when they could just trade for other things they want. So it just helps produce wealth. Anyway, these innovations and much more would eventually lead to the age of exploration. In conclusion, although we often see the Vikings as destructive people, their innovative strategies and colonization of the continent shifted the political center of gravity from southern to northern Europe. First, they brought an end to the Carolingian Empire. Secondly, they reshaped the map by settling and establishing new kingdoms throughout Europe. And thirdly, they transformed the culture of Europe, transmitting their culture through technological innovation, literature, and trade. Thank you.